Well, I'm joined now by Jeremy Acklam from the Transport Policy Panel at the Institute of Engineering and Technology, and is in our central London studio. Thank you very much for being with us. You're not convinced?
Well, we've submitted quite a bit of evidence to the government about this line, and it's good to see an investment decision which is positive for the rail industry. But we think that a number of the key issues haven't been taken into account. What we'd like to see now, what we're calling for, is an all-party review with professionals from the industry to look at how to reduce the cost of this line, and most importantly, how to add in Leeds and Manchester from day one of the project build.
Right, so you don't just start at Birmingham, you make it absolutely a commitment that it goes up to Manchester and to Leeds.
It's very clear that that's where the major time benefits and the more economic benefits as far as resolving the north-south divide actually are, yes.
Do you think that there's almost an element to this, which is this is an infrastructure project which will help stimulate the economy, and therefore that justifies it in itself, irrespective of the time saved on the network?
That's right up to a point, but when you look at the continental high-speed lines that have been built, they are typically built at less than half the cost per mile than the project which we're now looking at. And so we're very much concerned about that this is actually not very good value for money. But in the same breath, we applaud the decision to invest in the railways.
Isn't that partly, if you look at the continental example, I don't know, if you look at France, I mean, same population as the UK, but a much greater landmass and fewer planning concerns from the French state about running rail lines wherever they want to?
Well, that is the case too, but it's also about the business case that you use to define the project in the first place. If, like the current government, you're determined to save every single minute, then you have to have a straight route and very high speed. Whereas on the continent, typically they take a slightly different viewpoint where you're able to take a route which is doesn't have quite so much environmental impact and isn't quite as high speed. Because they take the decisions on a different basis, and that's what we are asking the government to consider in this planning stage, which we're now entering into.
I guess a lot of people kind of hearing, you know, for the last 18 months you've heard about the cuts that need to be made to budgets, and then you see a headline figure of, I think, £32 billion. Do you think it's money well spent?
Ultimately, this is an investment for the economy of the UK, and in that context, it's absolutely money well spent. What we need to achieve is the linking up of Leeds and Manchester with Birmingham and London in a project which happens in a shorter timescale, takes into account some of the other issues, including the issues of route, more carefully, and that is why we're calling for this all-party review with professionals from the industry to achieve that.
OK, Jeremy, I'm grateful to you for your time. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you.